This is part 2 of the welcome and course orientation video. We just in part 1 had finished reviewing the test submission for module 1 quiz part A. Now I want to go out of that review mode, which I'll just click OK down here, and then I want to go to the course modules, and I want to take the first module quiz part B to show you a few tips of how to interact with this effectively. So if I click on quiz parts A and B, then I click to start module 1 quiz part B and begin. Now I already took it one time, but I want to take it again, so I click on take the test again. Now I'm going to pause this after I explain a couple things. The most important thing is right here. You're going to have to go and open a second window or a tab, where I would just open, well, I can't right click, so I can open this by clicking here, which will open a second tab, and that's the best way to display that for you right here. Then I go back here and I got to make sure that I have this V slides at module 1 quiz. So I go to classroom and I put V slides at module 1 quiz. And then the password, I have to go back here. If you have a second window open, it's easier, or you can record these or write them down. The password is adipocyte. So ADIPOCYTE. And when I click here to log in, then I'm instructed in the instructions to click on module 1 quiz part B, and then on the specimens, and then I have the specimens for that quiz. There are 20 questions and there are 20 virtual slide specimens, and you can see the first one is here. Now they look like a real glass slide specimen. We made them look like that just to be a little more realistic. So if I go back here now and I start taking the test, remember, always have this question completion status open, and then you can click on the first one to bring that question right up there. It says examine the cells lining the space at X. The nuclei of these cells belong to which of the listed epithelial types? The same type of epithelium can be seen close by at the tips of 3 arrows. Now this is in a virtual slide specimen. All of these refer to a virtual slide specimen. So I have to go to this other window and I click on question 1, and then in that one the image will load on the right here in a few seconds. Actually it's much faster on my laptop than on my desktop. So I click on this radio button here, and that will take me exactly to the magnification to where I can review these this specimen. And you notice this is loading, and I actually took this entire quiz this morning, taking my time, making sure everything loaded, and it took me about, let's say, 40 minutes out of the 60 minutes allowed for this quiz. So if you do that, then you can also increase the magnification. Well, in this case you can't increase it by the menu because it's at the highest magnification. We set it that for that particular question. But if we go back here, then if you do need to see it closer, then in most computers, either Macintosh or PC, if you figure out where the command button is and do a command plus, then you can actually increase the view window on your browser and get lots more magnification out of it. So that's a pretty neat way to get a closer view if you really need to. So I really recommend that as a good technique. Now I need to get back here, and it's not working too well for me right now, but there we go. So now I'm coming back down to the side. So that's the way you interact with the virtual slides, and I want to now go back to the quiz, and at the very end you have 5 questions that require you to type in the answer. And in these, for example, let's look at the first one, question 16. Now we go back here, and we always, when you're going to another specimen, do not click next slide or previous slide. If you've gone between two slides, it'll say previous. Always click on this menu up here and go back to the collection of specimens, because your browser is less likely to freeze on you by doing that. And so then we come down here to question 16 and click on that. And here it's the same principle. Once the image loads over here, and it took about 4 seconds for it to load, then click on the radio button so it'll take you right where we wanted you to answer. But remember, you can, in this case it's maximum magnification, you see, but you can lower the magnification. You can lower it to look around if that's helpful in answering the question. That's one advantage the virtual slides gives you over a WebMic image, which is static and fixed in magnification on an exam. Now, in order to give you some help without giving you the answer, there is a show answer button here. That doesn't mean we're going to give you an answer. We didn't have any choice for the text of this, but what we have put here is there's a floating window that comes up, and the window went back. I've got to bring it out, excuse me. So I'll just move this up here like this and get back, and then move this over. And you see, these are helpful phrases and information to help you in how you should be thinking in answering the question. So for each of the type-in answers for virtual slides on our module quizzes, that's what we plan to do. And we think that you will learn a lot from this. Without giving the answer, it guides you in how you should be thinking. Now, on the midterm and the final exam, we're not going to give this kind of information. But for your module quizzes, which really you're graded, but it's kind of like a little homework assignment too. Okay, so you can click out of that and then come back over here, and that's the way it works. So I'm going to pause this so that I can then complete this video by framing another view of the course website. So to conclude this video, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to click on the course syllabus schedule and resource quiz just so you can see what it looks like. And when we begin, the same, and I'll need to take it again. I can't take it again. Sorry about that. But here's the but I can't review it either, because I'm going to not allow reviewing of this until after Friday. And then I'll set it so you can go review your questions and even see the correct answers to everything. We want you truly to understand the syllabus, the course schedule, and the course website for this course. So we're going to go back to the course modules, and I have a couple things I want to point out there, and then we're going to be finished. So here is Module 1, and within Module 1 are all the lectures, and do realize if you click on this, you're going to get a practice quiz, but every one of these questions occurs at the end of each of the lectures in this module. And you can do them interactively when you're doing the narrated lecture, or you can also see them a hard copy as a PDF on your computer or printed out, and with some feedback there. So but for all of the lectures now, both in the course schedule as well as here, you can see exactly how many minutes the lectures are before you start looking at them. So I think we're going to pause this, and we're going to wrap up here in a few seconds. Okay, just a couple more things. In Blackboard Help button here at the top, there is this comes from the University of Southern California, but it's a pretty good website for help for students in Blackboard. And then there's the iCare website for general technology issues at our institution. And then there's a phone number and an email for Blackboard support. Down here is the lab resource, the one you'll use to learn everything. And if you click here and you open this in a new window, you will see 4 venues for accessing WebMic. You should make bookmarks on your browser for each one of these, so if one of them fails, you'll be able to go to the other one very quickly. So we'll close that out, and if we click on this link, then it brings up WebMic. And remember, there's always a black and blank window that shows up, and in the foreground you should see this start page. And we do have a couple videos on WebMic, so I'm not going to go into that at the moment. So we can close out of this, and that's pretty well it. I guess except for one last important concept. When you are studying this course, I strongly suggest you study each lecture and lab and the related lab unit to that lecture. If you're studying epithelium in the lecture and you're reviewing it and have the PDF before you, then open up the WebMic study, or open the WebMic study guide and open up WebMic and study the epithelium, because lecture and lab actually are reinforcing of one another. I'll illustrate that here in just a second. So you see I have slide 8 visible here in the narrated lecture, where it is presenting the 3 cell types that are the building blocks of epithelial tissues. And then here in this WebMic window, there's one of the specimens that you're asked to study using the WebMic study guide and WebMic. And you can turn the labels on like we've taught you before, and you can remove this mask. And here you're actually looking at simple columnar epithelium, and on this specimen here, and in studying the epithelium, do you see how the lecture and the lab go together? You have a certain amount of information that's given in the lecture, and you have some redundancy, but when you come to the lab, it's basically showing you the structures and helping you to reinforce what you learned in lecture and to illustrate it. So hopefully you will take that approach. A number of our students have strongly recommended this approach as a time saver and better learning. So that's all for now. I wish you very good success in the course, and let's stay in touch by email and by the discussion board.